Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Nemeth. I'm a periodontist in Southfield, Michigan, and I want to talk with my colleague, Dr. Amar Katranji, who does some of the best, most difficult implant work that I have ever seen. And one of the things we want to talk about today is something called all on 4 or all on X. In fact, Amar, you had a patient this morning
Yeah.
who all of her upper teeth were extremely badly decayed. The decay was so severe that teeth really couldn't be saved. And so let's talk about the process.
Sure. Yeah, so this was a long-term patient. Something changed in her saliva, so she didn't have as much saliva as she used to. And all of a sudden she was getting more and more decay. And this decay was getting deep. It was very difficult to treat. So she was losing teeth, and we decided, okay, we're losing so many teeth. Maybe the best thing to do is to look at her full arch, so her upper teeth as one unit. Rather than taking out one tooth at a time and having multiple surgeries, we decided to do it all in one day. So today she came in and we put her to sleep so she was nice and comfortable. And we took out all the remaining teeth on the upper. And she had a couple implants, we took those out as well. And we placed 6 implants. And those 6 implants, we then scanned. We have some really interesting technology.
Some very, very new technology. In fact, we have a special kind of, let's call it a camera, but way beyond a normal camera. It's a very, very high-tech camera that enables Dr. Katranji to do the kind of work that can be done now much more quickly, much more rapidly, with a great result in a relatively short period of time.
Yeah, so after we placed the implants, we use this camera. The technology is called photogrammetry, and it's been something that's been around in manufacturing for decades. And it's found its way into dentistry, and it's really changed the way that we've done these cases. So now, when she was done with surgery, which only took a couple hours, we placed the implants and scanned her. And then what we did is we printed out a set of teeth in-house. So we have a nice 3D printer. And we were able to deliver her temporary teeth, which actually look really, really nice for a set of temporary teeth. They're made of a NanoCeramic material, which in many cases is stronger than what we used to use for finals. So for people's long-term teeth, our temporaries are now actually stronger than some of the stuff that we used to use in the past. So,
is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, so it starts off looking like this. This is how it gets printed. So if you see here, it's all white. And then through, just some lab work, we make it look more like some natural teeth. And it's made specifically for those implants I just placed. So there's no more goop. The impression takes literally seconds. It's literally a 10-second thing that captures all those implants, the soft tissue, everything. And then we're printing this out, and in less than an hour, we have a nice set of teeth. Now, let's say something happens to these teeth, or let's say we're not happy with the way the teeth are, the shape, the bite. Well, we can reprint a new one pretty quickly. So what's really nice about this is even any small adjustment, we can make these really rapidly. With this camera, with this photogrammetry, what it does is it picks up within microns, fractions of microns, the locations of all the implants. If the locations of those implants is incorrect, then you start to put a lot of pressure on the teeth itself, and you can actually see these things break. Some people come to us and they say, man, they can't get these teeth right. Every time they go to tighten them, I can hear these noises, it's squeaking. There's something that's off with the impression. Well, that's because with the impression, you might have to take multiple impressions. Sometimes, the material might warp a little bit. All of that stuff, it's based on the precision of the material. Here, it's digital, and that's what makes it different. When it's digital, the chances of any sort of, deformation or having anything off is going to be very, very minimal. And that's what makes this thing so much more precise. And instead of taking, honestly, an hour, sometimes longer to take impressions, we're talking about seconds, literally 10 seconds, and this thing is captured. Everything is done on a computer. The patient's bite is registered on a computer. the implants are placed on. Everything is digital now. So when we have everything digital, we can work on you literally anywhere in the world. I can be anywhere in the world, and I can make this work. We can work with anybody, any lab in the world. It makes things a lot easier, a lot cleaner, and really it comes down to this camera, this photogrammetry that we're using. So that really does wonders for our patients.
This woman came in, and in a matter of a few hours, she walked out with a beautiful set of teeth, really, that can be permanent, because this material, which used to be not so strong, it's a NanoCeramic.
NanoCeramic, yeah.
You can't break this thing. It's amazingly strong, and it is not nearly as costly as the metal one that can still be made. But this, as far as cost is concerned, saves the patient an enormous amount of money. And if something happens, if a tooth should break or something should happen, the patient can come in, and in a matter of an hour or so, we can print a brand new set of teeth that fit over the implants. We are the first office in the United States to have this technology, this camera technology. I actually have 2 implants from Dr. Katranji in my own mouth. I don't even know they're there. His work is quite amazing. In fact, today there was a patient of mine who has been coming in for years who had a problem with one tooth on the bottom in the lower front. And that's a very difficult area because it doesn't leave much room for an implant. But Dr. Katranji was able to find a long, thin implant that would fit in that space. But there's the implant. Very often, other implantologists would have to extract several teeth to put an implant in here, which I believe will last the patient's lifetime, and just replace a single tooth instead of having to remove more than the one bad tooth.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this case was because we were able to put a long implant in and we got good stability with it, I was also able to use his tooth as his temporary, and it was attached to the implant. So a lot of times people complain about temporaries coming in and out of their mouth, flippers, Essex appliance, things that come in and out of your mouth. People aren't comfortable with that. Here, the patient came in with the tooth and left with the same exact tooth. So it really does work well when we have the ability to place those longer implants.
In other words, the patient does not have to go with a gap or without a tooth while the implant is healing and the bone is attaching to it. And Dr. K is amazing because he can place implants in areas where normally implants couldn't be placed. Would you like to show them a little bit more about
Yeah,
what
so
that
many
is?
times people come to us and they tell me, they're not candidates for implants. They've seen other doctors, and the reality of implants is we really need bone in order for us to place implants. And for most people, we can find the bone within the maxilla, within the upper jaw. But there are times where there's just not enough bone. Maybe they've had infections, maybe they've had other treatments and they just didn't work, and during that time they lost more and more bone. In those cases, we have to find another location for the implant. And what you can see here is our zygoma implants, and these are implants that go all the way up and grab onto the bone, the dense bone that's kind of above the jaw. And the same day as, for instance, like what we did today, we're able to give people teeth the same day, but we just have to find other areas to grab onto. So there's usually a location, there's usually a solution for people who maybe have been told that they're not candidates for implants at other places. So we can usually find a solution that works.
I've had a number of patients that have come in to me, and I said, you really should have some implants. And the patients have said, well, I've seen several people, and they said, I don't have enough bone. And I said, Dr. Katranji can either create the bone or find areas where there is enough bone. And in virtually all those cases, he's able to do that. But I want to mention one other thing, because I had a patient who was here the other day who had to have 2 teeth removed and thought, well, maybe he should have a bridge. And I said, do not have a bridge. Why do you not want to have a bridge if you can have an implant? Because if you have a bridge, the teeth that hold the bridge have to be ground down. When those teeth are ground down, sometimes actually they have to be ground down so much that the nerve in the tooth can undergo degeneration or can die, which means then you need root canal work done on those teeth. Also, the teeth that are ground down and then have crowns put on them, which hold the bridge, those teeth can get decay. So you can get decay under the crowns and lose the bridge. If you have an implant, you never have to have a root canal because it's metal. It doesn't have a nerve in it. You can't get decay. It doesn't get decayed. And you don't have to grind down or cause damage to any of the adjacent teeth. So my own feeling is, and I think almost any knowledgeable periodontist and dentist would agree, that if you're able to have an implant, it's almost always preferable to having a bridge where teeth have to be ground down to support the false tooth that replaces the missing tooth. If you have a missing tooth or you're interested in implants, there is no one better that I can think of anywhere than Dr. Katranji,
Thank you.
who is my colleague here at the office. I'm very fortunate to be associated with him, and he's great. That's all I can say. As you know, make sure your mouth is healthy. We'd like your feedback, comments, questions, anything that you have any thoughts about. Let's hear from you. Remember, if your mouth's not healthy, as I always say, and I know Dr. K feels the same way, you cannot be healthy completely if your mouth isn't. So, healthy mouth, healthier body. Take care. Have a great day, everybody.
Restore your smile and your health. Visit drnemeth.com to schedule your appointment today.